What's up guys, I'm Zeke and welcome to the third episode of Metal Tales of Azerbaijan. In this series, I'll talk about my personal experiences with the metal scene of a country that's confused because it's torn between cultures of Asia, Middle East, Europe, and that's the country Azerbaijan. The country is called Azerbaijan. Today, we're gonna talk about The Nails, a band that I was the founder of. And to put it very simply, the band sucked. It fucking sucked. It was like the worst band in the world. It really sucked. I got into metal in 2004. You can watch the first episode of Metal Tales of Azerbaijan to see how it all happened. But though I was really into listening to the music, I was not into playing it until I was 16 years old. But even then, when I started picking up my first guitar lessons, I was still very green and I don't even know what a distortion is. So, when I was 16, I heard about these free classes at a church. In no shape or form, I'm a religious person, but let me tell you something. In Azerbaijan, nothing is ever for free. So, for free guitar classes, go to a church was not a big deal for me. I took my first guitar classes. My teacher was this nice Polish lady. I learned Smoke on the Water. But again, wasn't really planning or interested in doing anything with music. Here's the thing, my family and I were planning to immigrate to the US in 2007 after I finished with high school. And I didn't want to start a band only for it to get disbanded like a year later. Plus, I was still in high school, just learning basics of a guitar, knew nothing about music or what it takes to get a band. Hell, I didn't even have a computer to look things up. So, how did it all start then? Well, it started with my best friend, Bach. No, not this Bach. This one. No, not that one. This one. Bach was my metal buddy, and we were discovering music together. And this one day, when he was at my place in the morning, yes, we were skipping school together, I was playing the guitar and he was screaming to it. Before that day, I never heard him scream before and I thought he was amazing. His throat didn't hurt, none of that. He was a natural. Slowly, one thing led to another and we decided to write some songs and record them. And I know it sounds very cool, but let me tell you, it wasn't. We created drums using an oil heater and books. Bach wrote all the lyrics and sang. I played the guitar, and then playing it all together, we recorded it on a mic of a shitty, small MP3 player, Creative. I have no idea why this thing even had a mic. Our music sounded terrible. Surprise. Yet, we were really into it, and we really did it just for ourselves and our friends. We recorded 5 albums of this garbage. Oh yeah, and this garbage was called The Nails. Why The Nails? I don't know. I have no good answer for that. Long story short, I finished high school. Our application for immigration was denied and I was stuck in Azerbaijan until further notice. It was September of 2007 and it was one of the saddest moments of my life. I started working at a CD DVD store called Enigma. Bach was working at a sandwich place making shawarmas, and The Nails was nothing but an echo of our high school memories. A new era starts for me. No more school, a real job, new relationships, new friends, new responsibilities. In Enigma, I become friends with Farid. Farid was a guy who worked in Enigma for way too long. He didn't fit in the dogmas of Azerbaijan. And in fact, he was the first hippie I've ever met. Farid was several years older than me, and I just really liked him from the beginning. He wasn't like any other person I've ever met in my life, and he was very impulsive. Farid didn't like metal, but he loved rock and roll like a real hippie. And he introduced me to that music and its amazing world. He told me everything about Elvis, about the Beatles, about the Woodstock. He was really into Jefferson's Airplane and Iron Butterfly, all those guys. And let me clear something up. I worked in Enigma 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, for a whopping of $200 a month. Fun. The point is, Farid and I had a lot of free time on our hands. But the real point is that me and Farid got pretty close. The impulsive person that Farid was, one day out of the blue he exclaims, "Let's create a band." I was very skeptical, so I was against it at first. I continued working at Enigma, but long hours and long days really got to me. It got boring and depressing. I was just waiting for my documents to move to America to be ready, and that could take months or years, nobody knew. So I talked to Farid, take him up for the offer, and we create a band. Whew. Here we go. First, we needed a team. One evening, Farid brings this guy to the store who used to be his client, and Farid says he can help us. I'm gonna call this guy Mr. O. Mr. O was one of the nicest, most enthusiastic, full of shit persons I've ever met in my life. And he was a bassist, of course. I'm not gonna go into all the things that he has done that were terrible. I'm gonna concentrate on good things. And one of them was he got us a space. Mr. O knew this guy Milan, who was pretty famous in the rock community. And Milan had a rehearsing space. So we start renting it from him 3 times a week. I talked to my mom and she helped me get my first electric guitar. The brand was called Extreme. I think it was a Turkish brand and it was terrible. The rehearsing space already had drums, so we found a drummer. Mr. O was playing his shitty bass and Farid was on the vocals. And no, he didn't know how to sing. Everything was moving so quick. Me and Farid didn't even had a chance to discuss what kind of music we want to play. It was weird. We stayed at the location for about a month, but then it closed down, so we were screwed. Our drummer left us. Mr. O stuck around for a little bit longer, but then also left because finding location was a real trouble. Oh, and by the way, that shitty band of me, Farid, Mr. O, and the drummer had one shitty song and a name. The band was called Creative. Yeah, just like that MP3 player. It was just the beginning and it was all crappy and disorganized, but you know, Creative will always have that special spot in my heart. So what do we do next? Me and Farid talk and we decide to buy our own equipment and rent our own space to rehearse. We didn't really have any money, but we wanted to find out how much it would cost at least. So on my lunch break at Enigma, I run to the store called Music Gallery where they sold all types of electronics, including guitars and audio equipment. I run into the salesman and start telling him what I want, and I pretty much make no sense. I don't even know what I'm asking him. I want speakers and maybe a guitar, maybe drums I don't know. The guy finally asks me what I'm really trying to do. So I give him the deal. We're a band trying to get our own space and equipment. And here, the salesman reveals who he is and what he does. He appears to be Max Kochitov, the founder of 314, the band that I really admired. If you want to know more about them, they're in the 2nd episode of Metal Tales of Azerbaijan. Check it out. What were the chances that I would talk to Max out of everyone working in that store? Miracle! Max says that 314 are also in the process of moving to a new location. They already have all the equipment and they only need a band to share the cost of the rehearsing space. I was ecstatic. I talked to Farid and we started rehearsing with 314. How cool was that? Max helped us find a new drummer. I talked to my best buddy Bach and convinced him to get on bass, and we started making our bullshit music. And this band was called Christine. Yes, it was called after John Carpenter's movie. On one hand, it sounds that everything was going pretty well. But on the other hand, me and Farid started to have more and more conflicts. To put it simply, the kitchen had too many cooks. Me and Farid are both leader type, and it just wasn't working for us. Long story short, Christine got disbanded. Whew, what a loss. I know I'm making fun of it, I'm being self-deprecating, but to be honest, it was shitty music. And we were acting like kids, nothing more. And though I do make fun of it, those times are very dear to me and will always make me smile. So Farid left, our drummer left, two people stay, me and Bach. And guess what we do? We take our material from 2 years ago, rework it, make it heavier, and start busting out music we both like. Both on vocals, use drum machine instead of drums, and 3 months later, me and Bach perform for the first time as The Nails. Just two guys on the scene, two best friends since high school together again. The Nails were back. We perform alongside Joop de Portia, Dunkelheit, and 314. It was official the second Darkline concert. If you want to know more about Darkline, I mentioned it in my previous episode of the series. This was a lot of fun, and the Nails weren't stopping. In 2009, we got an addition to our band, a wonderful girl, Dinara. She was playing keyboards and she was a professional musician, and she really added a new flavor to our music. The three of us performed in a lot of shows. Generally, we got pretty good feedback. Hey, even my mom loved it. People liked our outfits and the makeup. Most bands didn't want to go through the hassle of doing any of those things. Too much commitment, they would say. But we liked it. Most people did hate our drum machine though, but it was what it was. Drummers were insanely difficult to come around those days. After saving a lot of money, in December of 2009, we record our one and only album, Commitment to Life. Once again, I love that album because it was hard work and it brings me great memories. But to be honest, I don't think it was that great. The drums did kind of suck. Several months later, I left the band, mostly because I knew that my immigration documents are going to be ready soon, which appeared to be true. I left Azerbaijan in August of 2010. The Nails continued without me, and they finally got a drummer, another friend of ours from high school, Yagub. He later actually became drummer of 314, which is cool. Sometime later, Bach also left the band, and it was only Dinara and Yagub who stayed. At that point, I was already in the US, and it saddened me. The two boys who started it all were gone. Dinara got a whole gang of the Nails, and at this point they were playing very different kind of music. I know the band had some problems with the rehearsal space. A lot of members of the band were still in school and they were having some schedule issues, so the band slowly evaporated into the void. I don't think they ever got officially disbanded. They just stopped performing. And I think they performed only till 2013, and no new recordings were made, unfortunately. The Nails were a very special project in my life, and I know in the life of Bach and Dinara and Yagub. It was our first baby. Also, the Nails were the first black metal band in Azerbaijan who recorded their own album. So we did leave some history behind us, even if it was small. In conclusion, even though some people liked our music, I personally don't think it was that great. But I always made music first of all for myself. I would usually say, I am my biggest fan. And even today, I still believe in that way of thinking. Metalheads are outcasts pretty much all over the world. They're even outcasts in the Western countries. Now imagine what they go through in a conservative place like Azerbaijan. Religious fanatics were not keen of us walking the streets and sometimes would take some action. So for me, playing music, even if nobody liked it, was an escape and a way to release my angst. And for that, I will always be thankful to the people I got to meet in the right place and the right time, and will always be thankful to what the Nails has given me. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Metal Tales of Azerbaijan, and I'll see you guys in a new video next week. Bye!